Hey, you're watching Rockin' and Rollin'. I'm Dan.
I'm Jenna.
And we're the Thompsons.
And we have another RV to show you.
That's right. We've been working on this RV for 7 months. We spent remodeling it. Way longer than we expected. And now we have been living in it for like 2 or 3 months back on the road. And we love it. And we want to take you guys on a tour of it. So
we're going to start in the back and work our way forward.
That's right. Let's go.
Rockin' and rollin'. Life rocks when your home rolls.
Hello. Welcome to the back of our motorhome, which is now the kids' room. Used to be the master bedroom. Used to be bunks in the closet. So we actually got our closet space back, which is fantastic because we took out a lot of storage elsewhere. So I'll go ahead and show you behind our sweet, beautiful
Art Deco
barn doors.
Show them how they operate.
They roll open.
That's right. Ooh.
The big reveal.
The big reveal of our junky closet.
So, but now we have the entire backside for storage, which is fantastic because,
I'm a
like
fan
I
of
said,
a good backside.
like I said, we took down a lot of storage, so we had to put it somewhere else. These are...
It's like modular shelving. It's it's like Closet Maid, I think is the brand or something.
Yeah. However, I had Dan hang them upside down so that we could get the extra support.
I forgot I did that. Look at how clever
so
that
that if, we're moving, stuff doesn't fall out. Although I do have it packed in pretty tight, so I don't know if it would, but...
We've been on some pretty rough roads.
We have, and nothing has fallen. Actually, our clothes stay up really nice. I've seen other rigs where the clothes are off by the time you get there.
I want that rig.
There are some clever secrets back here, but we're going to go into a little more detail on them on another video.
Maybe now's a good time to explain what we're doing here. We're doing a quick overview.
Yes, and we're going to break it down into smaller videos if you want to check out a little more about how we did it and why we did it.
So if you want to know what's hidden in the closet, you're going to have to...
Door number 3.
You're going to have to subscribe.
These actually are great when we're traveling too. We've had no issues with them falling off the way Dan set them up cleverly.
Yep. Again, well, I think we'll go into more detail on that in the bedroom specific video.
Correct. This used to be the master bedroom where we had a queen size bed, and originally our idea was to gut this and make it the kids' room. We wanted all this floor space. Well, that's not going to happen because underneath this slide, it cannot be moved. The slide mechanism is actually the top of the bed, so we had to make this work for this space, which is why there's still a platform here. So here's how we made it work since this can't be moved. So
hey,
underneath
what's that?
here,
more secret hidden surprises?
Secrets. Fold up table so that the kids can do homework right here.
Those mechanisms are what you'd use for like a TV ottoman that folds up into like an eating tray.
Those types of tables. So under here I have all the homeschool supplies for the kids, and this is where we do school. They color here. They actually love to sit at this, so we pull it off fairly often. This right here actually has to fold up when we travel.
So remember those slide mechanisms we said we couldn't get rid of? Yeah, this whole frame. And look at this. This is our circuit panel.
So right here is where all of our circuits are. This couldn't be moved, so it stays.
Yep. So no floor space, but I think we came up with a good solution how to make it all usable space.
Right. So the reason this has to fold up is because this slide comes in over, and when it pulls in now, it stops at the end of this.
That's right. It sits flush with the end there.
So that we can have all the storage space under here. Otherwise, when they come in together, it would crash into this space. So I'm gonna let Hartley tell you about her bedroom space.
These are my decoration flowers, and this says pretty girl.
Because that's your nickname.
Yes. And this says unicorn, and I have...
That says unicorn? It says something else, but...
Something else than unicorn, but... And I already have this unicorn, something that can match with that picture.
Good job.
Do you want to show them the lights?
Cute.
I like it too.
So under Hartley's bed, we chose to make some cubbies And there's actually 2 bins deep of toys for them. So we're actually able to keep quite a bit of their toys, which was pretty cool. So these were originally the nightstands that had doors over them. We kept them and just left them cubbies for the kids' stuff. And inside this cubby is a hidden USB port that Dan installed. So you can charge, and the kids charge up like their RC car batteries and things like that in there. We also use this space for homeschool, charts, wall, whatever, chalkboard, and kept their books here as well. So previously, this was all cabinet storage. We had cabinet storage up here, cabinet storage down this way, a couple of drawers, underneath a couple of skinny drawers that were really not usable, and then a bench, like a sit-down bench that nobody ever used. We actually just used it for storage, and then a couple drawers underneath. Now, we've utilized it. All of the kids' clothes fit underneath this bed, which is fantastic. So now, we have full-length drawers that come all the way out, so we can utilize all of the space. And all of their clothes fit in here. Plus, we have space for more, which is so great.
And they're accessible with the slides in.
So now whenever we're staying overnight at a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel and we don't want to have to push the slides out, we don't need to, because they can access their beds and their clothes just fine.
All right, go ahead, tell me about your space.
I have a shelf up here where all my books go, and I have a speaker that I can turn music on. I can put my little Tomahawk in this little space right here.
That's a really important feature. And then what's hanging up over there?
My guitar me and Daddy built.
That's right, we built that together. You'll learn how to play it, huh?
Uh-huh.
Who picked out these decorations?
Mom and Nancy Kara.
That's right. The men in this house aren't decorators. We're builders, huh? So Raya sort of alluded to it a little bit when he said that he has speakers. This is actually a solution to a problem we found. When we tore out all the cabinets, we found that there are actually a slide lock mechanism in here. Has like a little hand that comes out and grabs the inside wall when the slide comes in that holds the slide in place while we're traveling. It's a really cool feature, but we didn't realize that the whole mechanism was covered by the cabinets. So when we took it out, we realized we are gonna have to cover these. So our solution was speakers. Whenever we ran into a space that we didn't know how to use, we just shoved speakers in it. That's our solution. So I installed this cool little Bluetooth sound system, little amplifier in here. We got an auxiliary input. And then your volume, bass, and treble controls right here. I also relocated a power outlet, and then we've got more USB charging up here. But this is all just covering that slide lock motor that's in there. Sorry, we had to trade cameras because I needed.
We live in a tiny space.
Yeah, I needed a more wide lens.
So we didn't keep the original counters. Dan completely redid them. I think all of our countertops were like Formica, something really heavy.
Yeah, really heavy and really ugly. Faux granite, whatever faux granite is.
Something super heavy.
Made out of plastic.
We redid it with wood countertops that were stained and put our sink above, so now we got more countertop space, which was super important to us. We ripped out the medicine cabinet. There was still a space up here that needed to be filled, so Dan built a light fixture for this space. And then under here we did a barn door so that we could get the most out of this storage. So we keep it this is the pretty side with the matching stained drawers. And then on this side, we just kind of keep any extra stuff.
Utility stuff.
The ugly side, so to speak. And
yeah, moving the sink bowl on top also freed up a lot of storage space underneath,
yes,
as you can imagine. And then we'll talk about it more when we do our in-depth review of the bathroom. But there's a special mechanism under there that doesn't require a P-trap or a vent as well. So we are able to use that entire space, which was a big deal.
Under here is all usable space, which is fantastic. Because we needed all of that storage we took out here, ended up going under here.
So for the shower space, like Jenna mentioned, it was an enclosed glass shower. So we pulled that out. We really wanted to open it up because it was such a tiny cram space. Okay for camping, I think, but for full-time RV living, we really wanted to have a shower that we could really use. So we pulled that out, and we used a product called Dumawall. And we'll talk more about that again in our review of the bathroom and how it goes together. But basically, this is like lightweight plastic PVC tiles. They look like beautiful, real marble tiles, but they're lightweight, they're flexible, they have tongue and groove, so they lock together. It kind of just takes the guesswork out of it. You know, you don't have to learn how to grout and all that stuff. You just kind of glue it to the wall and it all snaps together. It's really easy. And then we did this rain style fixture, which is just wonderful. I thought that I was not gonna be able to fit underneath it, but I ended up cutting off 2 inches of the shower pan down here so that I could lower it down. That way I could actually fit all the way underneath here. I'll demonstrate that quick. So I can actually fit all the way underneath, barely. If you can't tell, out of everything that I did in this motorhome, this is probably the thing I'm the most proud of, because I love taking showers now in here, and I used to dread it before.
It's kind of nice because it does have a full-size sink in it. This space originally had nothing underneath it. We closed in this space, and now my trash can is hidden in here. There's actually space underneath it for trash bags and a little extra stuff too, which is kind of nice. And then we hid the toilet paper holder under here. We did the wainscoting. This originally was the wallpaper stuff in here with some
nasty gaudy border going
like
around
trim
the top, yeah.
going around that was really hard to peel off. But we took that all out. Obviously, we did the wainscoting here. We kept our towel rack in here, and also down here used to be carpet bacteria catcher. Yeah, and so we took that out and actually made it smaller to get more floor space out of it. One thing that I didn't mention in the kids' room that I wanted to talk about was all of our windows are framed in now. We took off the ugly valances long ago, but we didn't want the black,
yeah, it looks like a submarine spaceship sort of vibe,
windows showing. So all windows are framed in, which is really, really nice to help it look like a home. And then we have the roller shades that kind of just go and
it just makes it more homey. Yeah,
feels like a home. So we did keep the medicine cabinet in here and the mirrors that were on here originally. You okay there?
Yeah, well, I can see myself in the mirror, so I started creeping myself out.
It's like hands like slowly.
Yep.
But we raised it because our faucet is higher. It was originally, I think, down to here, and we raised it up to here. But because of that, inside of here, we got some extra space.
Yeah, it was weird. It was closed off, I think, up here,
yeah,
right?
All closed off to here, and then all the space under here was like not just open, unusable
it didn't make
space.
any sense. So we opened it up and made a third shelf in there. Yeah.
Shelving in there, which again was good because we took the medicine cabinet out of that part of the bathroom. And again, because we have the countertop sink, we get a little extra storage underneath.
Yep.
Here.
And there's that mechanism that I referred to earlier. See, there's no P-trap. So again, I'll explain more about that in our, in-depth review, but you definitely need those if you're going to be remodeling your RV bathroom.
So we do have this door to block off from the kids' room for privacy whenever we're showering in here or whatever, but there was no door here. So the curtain is the best way to close off this space. Plus it looks really cute when it's all tied up and it's easy to just...
You know what my favorite thing is about that curtain?
My leather strap.
I was actually going to say that it perfectly hides a 12-pack of soda.
Close it, closes off the space, and it gives privacy to whoever's using the shower. So on to the kitchen. We'll start here. Originally, this space was a tiny little, well, actually, no, the door was this long, but behind it was a tiny little, I don't know, cubby space that only went about this far. Once we got in there and opened it up, we realized there was nothing behind here. So we made this our trash can space. So we have this nice big trash can, which is great. Originally, Dan had built me a trash can here that popped out. It was a smaller trash can. It worked. It was great. But we wanted a bigger trash can.
Right. And the problem too is that, you know, this whole kitchen is on a slide, right?
Right.
So all the water connections and propane and all that stuff, it all needs to have room to flex as the slide comes in and out. So the trash can kind of hindered that a little bit in that spot. So why don't you open it up and show them?
Now, we kept the space under here, space for all of the flexing that needs to happen with all of the air, HVAC and all that kind of stuff that's underneath there. So this, we made space for the kids' snacks. They can come in and get their snacks, whatever. And then here was a curio cabinet where this was glass. So behind it you could see
show
through
off
it.
your
All of my precious moments dolls and
yes.
china that I'm gonna travel with in an RV, right?
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, we closed that off. Dan put some shiplap in the space where that was.
It's faux shiplap.
Faux shiplap.
If you guys follow us on Instagram, actually, we have an Instagram video how I made this. So.
Yes, pretty cool. And then in here is now pantry storage with a light.
That's right, because it was a curio.
Yeah. So now we get all this space for pantry and all this space.
The light actually makes that look really cool. We should turn the light on more often. It actually looks really nice. You put all your baking stuff in there because
this is not accessible when the slide is.
Exactly.
Here, we also, both of these are brand new countertops. Again, we reduced so much weight with taking those countertops out. And they just look so much prettier.
They're made out of edge-glued pine. It looks like butcher block. It's faux butcher block.
We installed my favorite thing, this giant sink.
That's
I
right.
love
it was a
this
farmhouse sink or whatever.
It's not really farmhouse, but
kind of. It's deep,
but
and it's a
nice
single
and deep.
compartment.
It's got a lot of space in it. I have this extra thing here that rolls out where we can just dry dishes on that. And still, this is like bigger than the space that I originally
the original sink was a tiny RV sink, and it was a two-compartment sink. And it was really shallow because, again, you needed to have a P-trap underneath it. And because underneath there is also the water heater, why don't you go ahead and open it up. The water heater's tucked back in there. And again, there's my favorite device that eliminates the P-trap.
Let's see, what else?
What about that cool brick?
Yes.
It works so hard laying brick and mortar.
Look at how beautiful our backsplash is. I was so happy with this. This is actually just that, I don't even know what it's called. What is that?
It's just faux brick material you can get from Lowe's for a 4x8
MDF
sheet.
or something, right? Or something
yes,
like that.
it is. It's made out of MDF. You're right.
Yeah, so you just put it up, but we painted it.
We painted it, yes.
We painted it
primed
white.
And painted it white.
And then got some edge pieces and kind of finished it off
trimmed
this
it up.
way.
Really nice.
And this was a mirror here, and there was a mirror behind the microwave or back underneath there.
Yeah.
And we
so
took those out.
Replaced it all with the brick. It was only one sheet that I needed to do all that brick.
Yeah.
And actually had leftover.
Made such a difference. One thing we didn't talk about in the kids' room too, though, is that we reframed the slides. So,
that's right.
This is also MDF. We took down this ugly,
the nasty crown molding,
which came up here and kind of like, I don't know, like came out this far, and just closed off the space on both sides. So Dan sawzawed.
Yeah, I just took a sawzall to it. That's my solution to everything.
Yeah, but this, like, I feel like made such a huge difference, and we wanted it white so that when it was out, it felt like it was just part of the wall, just kind of disappeared and made you feel like you were in a regular home. Originally here was an inset 3-burner RV stove. We took that out and we just put in a 2-burner gas stove.
Yeah, with 2 full-size burners. Actually, one's a full-size burner and one's like a full-size super ultra mega burner.
Yeah.
Which I never use because it's actually
we really
a little
only
too much.
use the front one, which shows you just how much we need all of those burners. We really don't.
And so we're able to get more countertop space.
Yes, because of that, we were able to utilize all this extra countertop space, which is so great. And under here, now, we have another little extra drawer.
Yep, so this is where the stove used to be.
And then this little space is my cleverly hid spice drawer.
Yep, easy access where you're cooking right there on the stove.
Yep, and they're all magnetic. Then underneath here originally was just two holes, I guess, really. Just cabinets that was kind of divided in the middle, which was really kind of a weird storage space. Like, we didn't know what to fit in there.
In order to get to the things in the very back, you have to pull out everything that's in front of it.
Right. So, to fix that problem, the unbuilt drawers.
That's
and
right.
they come
full-length drawers.
All the way out.
And nice and deep, and you can reach everything without pulling anything else out.
Yeah. So we have that space there, and we have
pots and pans
down at the bottom. And it's great.
So much better.
Easy space now. This is what I'm talking about with the slide trim. We were able to take down all the ugly crown molding and put this MDF here, and it just really, really opened up the space.
Yep. You don't even really realize that that's a slide anymore. It all just kind of blends together.
Onto the dinette. Originally, this was a booth style where you had one booth here facing each other, and the table came out from the wall. So in order to like open up the space, we chose to make an L shape. So the original dinette storage underneath had ample storage underneath it, but the way they had you accessed it was to open a door, and it was just like straight back storage. But now all we do is we take these off, and we have access to all of our storage that we had in there. Plus we have storage in the bench behind it as well.
That's right. And it's supported by these gas struts, so you don't have to hold it open. You can use both hands to get out whatever you need.
See, I'm not holding it.
Look, no hands. And then you can also see how we routed in spots for the seat belts to feed through. And then the seat belts actually have like a little pocket that they sit in when they're not in use. And then we feed them up through those holes for the kids to sit there with their car seats.
And also, we stick this right here behind the kids so that our paint doesn't get scratched. Right. And their car seats go right here, and it's perfect.
Speaking of paint not scratching,
we'll have a separate video to show you how we did the paint in here.
Because we've seen a lot of remodeled RVs. 1 or 2 months down the road, the paint is all peeling and chipping and looks terrible.
Right.
So we did it the correct way. So if you want to see a video on the correct way, make sure you're subscribed, because we're going to do a video coming up.
This whole space from here all the way down had cabinet storage. It was great for storage, but came down and covered our windows.
Yeah, it covered up the windows and just closed off the space. It was really bulky.
Yeah, and so we wanted to open up that space, so we tore those out. Again, all of our windows are framed in and have the roller shade, but we just really wanted to make this wall feel homey, so we hung some
That's right. Jenna's idea right here. She did these curtain rods that go all the way to the ceiling, which makes the window seem bigger than it actually is.
We also replaced our big map with a tinier map right here of all the places we've been.
Yep, getting a little more color on that map, which
is
nice.
Loving that. Again, slide lock cover. Speakers, but these speakers are attached to the front speakers, which we'll show you that later, to our CarPlay system, and he can actually adjust them front or back, and these are the rear speakers. Yep,
so I can fade them to the rear when we want to listen to them in the coach, but when we're driving, if the kids are here and I don't want to blast them out with music,
then you just fade it to the front.
Yeah, we said we'd talk about that later, but we talked about it now, so sorry about that.
Oh. So this is the living room / our bedroom. So we found this awesome couch at Ikea that is pretty oversized for this space, but the bed portion of it is so comfortable. And that was kind of what was the most important thing to us.
It's a really comfortable couch too.
It is a really comfortable couch. Dan built some nightstands / end tables for us, and they also have storage in them. So I'll show you mine. You can lift it up, and it has storage inside of it. And then there's also a USB port and a, what do you call that?
12 volt accessory, because with a 12 volt auxiliary port, you can kind of turn that into whatever you want.
I also utilized the space under here with a basket. That is now all of our game storage, which is great. Another way to make this space feel really homey was to add these wall sconces, but we did not have 12 volt power ran through here, and so we used battery operated puck lights. Where you can like touch them, or they come with a little remote control, and we just turn them off and on by the remote control, and they also dim, which is kind of fun. They're cool. I love them.
So I know that I said that the shower was my favorite thing that I did in this, but I think this is either a close second or it might be the other favorite thing. So this is our entertainment center / dresser, because remember, this is our bedroom. And so these drawers are full length drawers, so you can see how much stuff we can fit in there, which is awesome. And then we got this awesome recessed fireplace from Touchstone, and remote controlled as well, and you can change the color for ambiance, and it is a functional space heater as well, so for winter it actually helps keep us warm. This was really high on Jenna's priorities list because our last fifth wheel had a recessed fireplace and this motorhome did not, and we totally missed the ambiance once we moved into this motorhome. I built this entertainment center style, so we've got this cool sound bar that we got, and then we got storage for the Wii and games and controllers and all that underneath there, and then there were huge storage cabinets above here. Like, they came down, I think, probably about this low. Yeah. So they closed off this whole window area pretty much. Like, it might as well have not had a window there. It was that bad. So we took that out and opened up the space, built a shelf, which Jenna put all this awesome decor.
So one thing that I wanted to mention was very important to me. I don't want to have to tear down a ton of stuff. So we tried to make everything as quick and easy as possible when we were pulling in the slides, getting ready to go. So with the decor that stays, this is all Velcroed down and it doesn't move. We've been through some pretty bumpy situations, roads, yeah. And even Dan has slammed on the brakes a few times. None of this, I mean, not because he's a crazy driver, but because I'm a safe driver.
These have not moved. The decor has not. Yeah,
it has not moved.
It's really important for that whole slides in, jacks up, let's go.
Yes.
You might be wondering, I said this was an entertainment center and we don't have a TV. And Jenna and I don't watch a lot of TV, so finding a spot for the TV was not huge on the priorities list. We'd rather have the view out the front window, honestly. But again, Touchstone is amazing, and they make this awesome motorized TV lift. So the awesome thing about the TV lift is really just that the TV's there when we want it, and it's not when we don't want it. So we get the view out the front window, because that's honestly, during the day, that's what we want anyway. And then at night, after the kids are in bed and we're just hanging out, we can fold out the bed, bring the TV up, and just kind of veg, which is awesome. We'll talk about the TV lift more in detail when we get to our living room kitchen specific video. But the reason why we went with the Touchstone TV lift is because it's the only one that gets low enough to actually go below an RV window. So you might be thinking to yourself at this point, how much did all of this cost? We kept really good records, and we are going to make a video on exactly how much all of this costs. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed and click the bell notification, because that video is coming out next week. Moving on to the cockpit, we had a lot of challenges to try to keep the cockpit looking really homey. So we came up with a couple solutions to kind of hide some things. One being the guitar hangers. You can see between the guitar hangers and these curtains that my wife picked out, we can hide the seat belts. We also installed a roller shade right here. This is functional for both when we're driving and when we're not driving. It helps block out a little more shade. And then these are full blackout curtains. So when we close these, it's completely, I think they're 85% blackout, super functional. So the whole cockpit area, we really pretty much gutted and redid. So up here used to be a TV, and it was the worst spot in the world for a TV because the couches were on both sides and you just weren't facing the TV. So we took it out, and it also came down here about this low. We took the TV off, and I just chopped it straight across so that we get more of the view, and we just hung this, and this is actually a fake door with some more storage behind it. So just kind of using every little crack and crevice that we have, because behind that was nothing before. So now we've got a cool shelf behind there. This whole front dash area, again, we just completely redid. It was covered in a padded vinyl, very similar to this chair, and it looked just stupid, for lack of a better word.
It wasn't usable space.
Yeah, and it wasn't usable because it was padded. You'd set a cup on it or whatever, and it would just tip over because it wasn't a solid surface. So we ripped all that padding off, and I put down wood, stained it to match the rest of our wood countertops, and trimmed it up really nice. And then to tie it all together, I did, again, the faux shiplap down here. I also modified this. Again, it was kind of painted a cream color to match the padded vinyl that was on there. We took these off, painted them black, and I cut out a spot to install my CarPlay system. This nice like 10-inch screen. It's like having an iPad. I also have down here a hidden subwoofer, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we do our Cockpit specific video. And I'll give you a full in-depth review of that subwoofer, the CarPlay system, and how all this works for us while we're traveling. Probably the biggest problem that people have when they're living in a motorhome is they don't know what to do with their shoes. So we have a no shoes in the house policy. And so what do you do with the shoes when you come in? And my wife came up with a genius solution. So of course we also have our sweet magnetic screen that we love.
Actually, speaking of this screen, it was hard to find a screen that fit this door. So
yeah, we found it. So if you've got a Class A motorhome and you want a magnetic screen,
they're like tall and narrow. That's the issue. Come in, and you put your shoes in the shoe holder. For me, I can fit my shoes, a pair of flip-flops, and a pair of Crocs just to like throw on if you need to quickly go outside. Dan's able to fit a pair of regular shoes and slide-ons, and then the kids are able to fit their shoes and water shoes and flip-flops and stuff. So they actually hold quite a bit of shoes, and they're not like super cluttery, which is great.
Yeah, they're organized real nice.
And then we found this awesome little wicker type bin that sits right here by the door for extra shoes.
Extra shoes. Just right behind
and then
us.
I use the back pocket of the seat to put umbrellas and flashlights, stuff like that in. So it kind of is like it's our mud room.
Yeah.
The motorhome, if you will.
It works out surprisingly well.
Yeah, it does. Dirt stays here. It doesn't come in the motorhome. So
That's right. So if you're wondering why we didn't sweep, we live in this thing.
Adventure happens.
If this video left you with a lot of questions, those questions will get answered in our more in-depth videos. We're going to do one for the bedroom, for the bathroom area, for the kitchen and dining room, and then for the cockpit, and how to properly prep and paint a RV for long-term durability. Yeah. And of course, next week, we're going to talk about how much all this cost. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you got early access to this video. We super appreciate you guys and sticking with us.
Thank you for sticking around, even though we've been absent.
Yep, so thank you. You got early access to this. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, as a Patreon supporter, you would actually have early access to that video on how much all this costs. So if you want early access, definitely check us out on Patreon. We would appreciate that. And remember, until next time, life rocks.
When your home rolls.